Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score!
Ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Washed it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary. And I said, Stone Cold, why have one when you can have them both?
Swung out and drilled! Deep right center! Away back! Gone for Tony!
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Awful.
How is she awful?
Hates freedom.
And now, Any Given Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Ward and Ethan Simpson.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Hello and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Any Given Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ethan Simpson, sitting here with my main man,
Brendan Ward.
And we have some fantastic news for you today. We finally caught the bird from last week. Here is the bird that was zooming around the studio last week. So we got it.
You all thought we were nuts.
Right.
Ethan caught it in the meantime, just so we could prove it to you.
Also, happy National Bird Day to my good friend, Flash. Flash is the Kent State Golden Flashes mascot. I have been on the sideline with him many times. I've met him many times in my childhood. So happy National Bird Day to my paisan. Moving on from Bird Day, Brendan's got some big news for you.
We are the champions, my friend. And we'll keep on fighting to the end. Yes, that's right. Me, Hunt Chubbs, OBJYN, did take down Lights, Camera, Action, Dean Reinhardt in the Any Given Podcast Fantasy Football League Super Bowl. Big win for me. I wasn't sure I could do it. Tough road. Took down one of the hottest teams in the league in the first round in your brother Ian. And then went and took down the number 1 team in the second round in Kyle White, the number 2 team in the Super Bowl, to get myself in there, get myself a title, and get things going. We're going to go ahead and...
Congratulations.
Yeah. Everyone was doubting me. They thought it was fixed because I had the first overall pick. Christian McCaffrey only played 2 games all year, battled injuries all year, ended up with Myles Gaskin and DeAndre Swift at the running back position. It worked out in the end, where we have it pulled up. In second place, like I said, Lights, Camera, Action, taking the loss to me on Sunday. He did graciously go down by texting me and telling me congratulations as I was sweating that overtime possibility with the Titans because he had both Tannehill and I believe Corey Davis. And then in third place, the Fantasy F-Words Kyle did beat my cousin Ian for 4th place. You, the Kent Honks, ended up in 5th place. So even though you didn't realize you had a game this week, you did take down your brother, Trey Hare fans, Ian, who ended up in 6th place.
There we go. Hey, can't beat that.
And then after that, you had...
This time, I didn't even set up my lineup.
I don't think either of you did.
No, I didn't think I was going to have a game. We had 2 buys, and it was just like, all right, whatever, we're done, right?
Yeah, and I don't know why they did it that way. And then Country Roads take Mahomes in 7th place. That's Heidi's brother Spencer. And then Heidi in 8th place, Silence of the Lamb. That's halfway through, so that's all I'm going to go with, besides the fact that T fell all the way to last place.
Yeah, that was a tough fall.
Yeah, he was looking really, really stout earlier in the year, and then some injuries. Nick Chubb coming back for him, and him not being able to get those points from Kareem Hunt ended up being pretty big for him down the stretch. That's how the Any Given Podcast League shook out this year.
Hey, Any Given Podcast, any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday.
Yeah, any given. An 8-6 team won the Super Bowl.
Or Tuesday. They were playing Tuesday and Wednesday games this
Yeah.
year, too. Any
Who
given
knows?
day of the week.
Who knows? Any given day of the week is when it's no longer any
And they were
given
playing
Sunday.
Saturday games. Any given day of the week.
I told my dad that the other day. We were talking about the movie Any Given Sunday. He was like, well, is that why you chose Any Given Podcast? Yeah. Except I'm bringing it to you. I'm bringing the fire on Any Given Podcast any day of the week I want.
There you go, right? Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter at Podcast Kid. Moving on into some real football now. The Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-22 on Sunday. Defense held up pretty stoutly through the first 3 quarters of the game, even held a 15-point lead at one point thanks to a big interception from MJ Stewart. They did debut the turnover chain. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that. That was Mac Wilson's doing.
Mac Wilson is not producing on the field that much right now. He's producing in the locker room, I feel like.
Yeah.
He's keeping things together.
Absolutely.
The playoff pound shirts, I think, is some people wanted to clown him on Twitter for that, but by all means, celebrate making the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Also celebrate making the playoffs with purchasing one of the. We have Howie right here with the numbers don't lie. I'm wearing it. Numbers don't lie.
I didn't get the
6
matching
is the
memo. I didn't get the matching memo, so
I wore it just so you wouldn't wear it, so we didn't look like we were matching.
all right. So yeah, we'll that's good. I might wear it next week. We'll see.
You wear it next week. I won't wear it.
Yeah.
And then we'll
get it going.
I was gonna wear it though.
Either way, no matter when we wear it, you need to wear it. Message us. Get your info. You're not going to want to miss it because truly numbers don't lie. And I think going into Sunday's game, Baker's going to prove that once again.
Yes. Each shirt is $20 from medium to extra large. 2X and 3X are $25. You can message us. You can give it. You can pay us through Cash App, and we will send you a picture personally of your shirt going straight into the mailbox.
Yeah, you'll know when it's on its way. You let us know when you get it. If you have any problems with shipping, we'll make sure everything happens. And believe me, it really doesn't take that long to get it.
Anthony
right?
Alford
That's where I was
got
going with
his.
this. It obviously doesn't take that long to get it. We sent out Double A's shirt from WTAM a little over a week ago. He already wore it for Sunday's game and believes it's his good luck charm because the Browns, for the first time in 18 years, made the playoffs while he was wearing his shirt. My superstition for game days, no jerseys on game days. So this shirt fits perfectly.
You'll love it.
Love it.
All right. So moving on from that, it is poetic that Stefanski called that for Baker Mayfield to end the game.
No, nobody has been talking about it, and the minute it happened, that's poetic. This deserves the Titanic theme song that they all put at the end of it. Baker Mayfield running like a gazelle to the outside, just slowly inching for a first down to seal the game and the first playoff berth, like we said, in 18 years. I'm going to say it a lot because we should be hyped about it. Despite the week before, the 3 fumbles and the troubles running the ball, this week, Baker Mayfield scrambled for 28 yards at one point, had over 50 yards on the ground. This team has proven that even though they faced adversity, and I don't want to hear they played the Steelers backups. Well, guess what? The Browns were down 8 players as well.
Right.
Just because you got to pick and choose who you didn't want in the game. Denzel Ward wasn't playing. They're already on the second string secondary.
The 2 cornerbacks aren't playing. It was. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. It was kind of a shit show on the Browns' defensive side.
Yeah.
Look, Sendejo, say what you want about him, but
he's a rock in there, and with him being out lately, it kind of put into perspective why exactly he's been playing as much as he's been playing. You know what I'm saying? Because it just goes to show when he's not there, there are those big holes in that back end that we don't think that he accounts for, but there it is. Chase Claypool getting that big touchdown. Probably wouldn't have got burnt if Denzel Ward or Andrew Sendejo were there at the back end. The big pass to Deontay Johnson. Mm-hmm. Another play that Sendejo might have been in position to stop, or somebody else for that matter.
Here's another scary thought. With all the troubles we've had on defense, all the injuries, even beginning the season, we went 11-5. Imagine how scary we will be when we get our guys back, when we get Greedy back, when we get Debsit back.
Look, the Browns are going into this offseason, and we're not gonna talk about the offseason besides this one thing. No matter what happens Sunday or beyond, should they win, the Browns are headed to this offseason an 11-5 record, the first playoff berth in a while, with money to spend.
Right, and we're not worrying about coaches. We're
Yeah.
not worrying about quarterbacks.
You've got the structure, you've got the system, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator. It's all intact. I like the GM you have. You're going to bolster yourself in the draft. They're no longer living on draft picks
Right.
to save the franchise.
Our whole lives, it's always been, as long as I've been a Browns fan, it's always been, all right, well, who are we going to take with the first through fourth pick?
This top 5 draft pick, who can we take that's going to save us?
Who's going to be our coach? Who's going to be our GM?
Yes. They have never went into an offseason with, first of all, well, I won't say with money to spend first, with a structure in place on an 11-5 football team that only needs to fill holes. They don't need the starting 22. Sure, you could draft a guy that starts at DB, that starts at linebacker or something. You can go sign a guy that's going to start in one of those positions, but that's because Mac Wilson maybe has taken a step back later in this year. Grant Delpit was hurt. Greedy Williams hasn't seen much of the field since he's been drafted. Denzel Ward is an elite level player, but there's been certain things that have kept him out. Obviously, he can't really control the COVID thing. So there's these holes, but the base, finally a solid base. So, and we're going to stop talking about it because I don't want to get too much into the offseason, especially with us looking into the playoffs.
Can I just say one thing? There's these Pro Bowl players that are on trash teams, and I can't believe I'm saying this. There's Pro Bowl players on these trash teams where their contracts are coming up.
Yeah.
And they want to play for the Browns. They
Cleveland-
want to come to Cleveland.
Cleveland was always a team where you're going to go get paid as a veteran.
Right.
Now it's the team a veteran chooses because he believes that one guy himself can make the difference between a wild card playoff berth or a divisional playoff berth and the Super Bowl champions. And that's what we're looking at with the Browns headed into this offseason. How can they get better to pace if they don't win the Super Bowl? How can they get better to make sure that they're in the game next year?
Yeah.
To pace themselves with whoever the eventual Super Bowl champion is this year. Unless it's them. By all means. If it's them,
It could happen.
it can happen.
It could happen.
I said numerous times the Browns have a roster built for January. I'm going to forever stick to the theory that Kevin Stefanski lately has been passing like crazy to goat people because Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though we'll get into why he's not going to be there in a short minute, I feel like the Browns are going to just shove it down their throat. They wanted you, kind of like what the Titans did last year.
I was just going to say, what did I tell all of you guys at OMS?
You straight up, you were like, I know they're using Tannehill right now. They don't look that good. Just wait till the playoffs. They're going to shove Henry down people's throat. And
Henry, the wild card game.
Henry averaged like 175 yards a game in the playoffs last year. And if you think Derrick Henry can do it, which by all means, Derrick Henry is probably the best running back in the league, 2,027 yards this year,
Right.
pretty much says that.
But the Browns have the second best running back.
The Browns have arguably the second best running back and another running back that could maybe arguably crack the top 5, but definitely the top 10.
Yeah.
So in Kareem Hunt, by all means, expect Nick Chubb to just ground and pound the Pittsburgh Steelers, no matter who they play on defense, no matter if they're fully healthy. Joe Hayden may likely miss that game as well.
Good.
By all means, who cares? He's not.
I hate Joe Hayden.
He's not the most feared person on that team, on that defense. In fact, he might be one of the least feared people on that defense.
Lockdown Joe can't even. He gets burnt every game.
I want to see Lockdown Joe versus Jarvis Landry, though. I want to see Jarvis just run him over. I know.
I'm gonna see a little tussle between them, a little helmet to helmet fighting.
There is no love lost. If you were a Brown, I loved you back when you were a Brown. But
I didn't love Joe Hayden.
I didn't have a problem. I won't say I loved him, but the minute you put on black and gold, no matter if the Browns fan or the Cowboys fan in me starts talking about it, the minute you put on black and gold, it's over with.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
gone. You're gone. There's no. It's. I don't even know how else to put it. It's Francisco Lindor going to the Detroit Tigers,
Or going to the Yankees.
or the Yankees.
Or,
It's
we have a couple weeks to talk about that.
Yeah,
We have a couple weeks to
We
go.
got a couple weeks before that happens. Win over the Steelers, like we said on Sunday, and Miami's loss set up for this Sunday's matchup at 8:15 on NBC. The Browns are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field in the first round of the playoffs. However, they are already down B.J. Goodson, Denzel Ward, and others from last week due to COVID issues. Denzel and B.J. Goodson likely could come back. However, today, early Tuesday morning, the Browns got notification that head coach Kevin Stefanski, as well as a tight end and DB coach, tested positive, along with offensive guard Joel Bitonio and wide receiver Kadero Hodge. From this, first thing I want to say is, dang, you got to feel for Joel Bitonio, right?
Joel Bitonio, the longest player.
Longest tenured Brown, lived through 1-15 and 0-16, still here, lived through the turnaround.
Worked his ass off.
One of the best guards in all of football, and they finally get it, and he's going to be stuck missing the game. The big news, obviously, is the Kevin Stefanski thing, because unless it somehow comes out that this next test he has is negative, and we find out that the test is false positive, the Browns are not having Kevin Stefanski call this game.
Absolutely
On Sunday. They made a statement that said that the contingency plan is special teams coach Mike Prefer, who will be serving as the acting head coach.
And he's been in the NFL for almost 20 years.
When it first came out, I thought it was a little surprising that it wasn't Alex Van Pelt or even Joe Woods, just because they were coordinators. But I think I like the move.
Yeah.
I think I like telling AVP, hey, just call the plays.
Right.
I think I like telling Joe Woods, hey, make sure this defense gets some stop. Special teams coach doesn't always have to be ready.
Yeah.
Because it is situational football. And I think that bodes well for someone serving in an interim role, someone who always pays attention to situational football, someone who knows what time is on the clock, who knows what's coming up, who knows the field goal range of Cody Parkey, who knows what Jamie Gillen is doing right now, things like that. So I think the move to Prefer is probably the best move just because of all that situational stuff. He's been in the league for a while. I think the biggest thing is Mike Prefer has been here, is the only coach on staff, it's aside from Stump Mitchell, that's been here more than this year.
Right.
So
He's only been here 2 years, and he's the longest coach that's been here.
Yeah, so I think it just bodes for like the people that were here last year and things like that. Just the rapport that Prefer has, I think that is also kind of a big thing that went into him being the contingent interim head coach with Kevin Stefanski out. I was listening to the radio on the way here, and they were talking about maybe the NFL can like bend the rules because it's a unique situation, the playoffs, head coach out. Maybe Stefanski can call the game from his house, but there's just no way.
Why don't they just put one of their suites? The Pittsburgh Steelers take one of their suites, put Kevin Stefanski in there with a headset, have him call the game from up there, and then as soon as it's done, disinfect it.
I mean, by all means, the dude from Purdue last year coached in a hospital bed in one of those suites.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Kevin Stefanski, even if he's not calling plays or anything, can't sit in a bed or a chair up in the suite.
Up in the
by
suite,
himself.
yeah.
I get that you don't want him out and about, so and it has to be one of those things where
Put him in a hazmat suit.
Yeah, put him in a suit, Kevin. It's got to be home, car, suite.
Right. That's it.
Throughout-
Put him in a hazmat suit or a space suit, whatever you want to put him in, but put him right into that suite. One of the suites that people pay how many thousands of dollars to sit in.
Make Jimmy Haslam pay for it. By all means, I'm sure he will.
Have the Browns disinfectant guy come in after there and disinfect the whole thing. I don't understand why they have not done that the whole season.
Whatever it is, I am 100% sure Jimmy Haslam would fit the bill to ensure that Kevin Stefanski is somewhere in the vicinity of Heinz Field to be able to call plays on Sunday.
NASA, Elon Musk, SpaceX,
Somebody with the brain.
please give him a suit so he can be on the. Just put him in one of your suits. Burn it afterwards.
Yeah.
Bury it. Whatever you do, but just let him be on there with a headset, talking into Baker's ear and talking to the whole team.
But other than that, the word that scares me most now is contact tracing.
Yeah.
Your head coach tested positive for coronavirus.
Joel Batona, they're all dancing.
By all means, who falls under whatever is necessary for contact tracing? They are saying that whoever does do contact tracing today, whoever gets sent for contact tracing today, will be eligible to play Sunday. But that you're starting to look at people like Baker Mayfield, who gets a hug from Kevin Stefanski every time he leaves the sideline, then I'm sure Case Keenum's right next to him all the time. You start to think about some of those things that really, like, if Stefanski's doing his job, and I know, like, there's masks and there's face shields and stuff like that, you start, like, I seen you tweeted about it earlier. Mike Tomlin was over there hugging Stefanski.
There's video of
shaking his
the
hand
offensive coordinator and
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin hugging Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my point is where does this go? What in the hell is necessary for a pushback? Because the only team that's got it this year is the Baltimore Ravens. Well, the Titans did early in the year, but that was pretty like, we don't know what we're doing. But the only other time was when the Ravens had 18 people out. The Browns are starting to get into double digits. If anything comes of what happened today, it can only get worse, and it's starting to really concern me. Sunday could be really up in the air.
What I've been saying is, look, it's the playoffs. This is in the regular season. You can push that 8:15 p.m. game on Sunday, the wild card game, back to Tuesday or Wednesday, and you can push the playoffs back. It's not like there's 75,000 people that bought tickets to the Super Bowl and took off work that day. You can push the Super Bowl back.
Yeah.
People would not get mad.
I mean,
there's some people that would get mad, but they're jerk-offs.
You could push the Super Bowl back because by all means you already booked that.
Yeah, but what's going to happen is USF going to play a game there? No.
Yeah.
Central Florida, that's the only other team that plays there, football team. So who's going to be looking to use Raymond James?
They already booked it, man. They already paid to have it for the entire month of February.
Yeah, so push it back. Push these games back. If things like this keep happening, push them back.
Yeah, it's the NFL stadium from February 1st to February 28th or whatever.
But you know what? Roger Goodell got castrated, so he is not very smart.
Yeah, the NFL is really just contingent with or consistently looking to just finish the season. Don't be surprised if it doesn't get pushed back, even if more people start to get sent out. I think it's going to take a significant number of people for the game to get pushed back, and even then, you don't want to hope for that because then you're going to be without those people for when an eventual game happens on Tuesday or Wednesday.
All right, so speaking of the wild card weekend, which I believe that the Sunday night game should be pushed back, but you know what is Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth doing the rest of the week? Really?
That's their job, bro.
Their job is just to announce
$100,000 a year, probably.
Al Michaels does do more things.
Al Michaels does golf.
Yeah.
So there's that and things like. So Al Michaels is, but like, what's Collinsworth doing?
I don't know. So wild card weekend this Saturday. I'm gonna list these off, and you tell me who wins. Indiana, Buffalo, 1 p.m. on CBS.
Buffalo.
Okay, I'm taking Buffalo as well. The Rams at Seattle, 4:40 p.m. on Fox.
It really depends because I think if Jared Goff is back, this is a weird game because that Seahawks defense kind of sucks. So if Jared Goff plays, it could possibly be the Rams. But if they're playing that backup quarterback, the Seahawks are going to run away with this game.
Oh, absolutely! He won his first game last week. I'm up in the air on that one. All right, so on NBC on Saturday, the Buccaneers versus the Washington football team, 8:15 p.m. on NBC. I already said that, but who are you taking?
I'm going to say the Bucs. Washington has a very good defense, so I think this is going to be a very murky game. But when it comes down to it, you want Tom Brady in a game like that.
I think. I'm going to take the football team on that one. They're going to be sneaky. They're going to come out and be sneaky because everybody doubted them. They should have not been in the playoffs. So they're going to put that in their heads. And they have Alex Smith under center.
Yeah, I could see it. You got another guy that's strong mentally under center, like you said. And I do like the idea of them being ready just because of what Bruce Arians said recently when Chase Young said, "Give me Tom Brady." Bruce Arians said, "Careful what you wish for."
And Chase Young,
don't poke the bear. He's ridiculous.
He's going to be the rookie.
Yeah, probably defensive rookie of the year.
Defensive rookie of the year.
He might destroy Tom Brady on Saturday night.
All right, so here is a tough one. We're going into Sunday, Baltimore against Tennessee, 1:05 p.m. on ESPN and ABC. Let me say something before you say something. I think the Titans are going to beat the Ravens.
Yeah, the return of playoff Lamar. We get that.
Do you remember the divisional game last year?
That's what I'm saying. We get the return of playoff Lamar.
Yeah.
It's just
he can't win big games. He squeaked by on the Monday night game against the Browns.
The biggest game this year, it was he had to poop because he was so worried.
Right. It happens to everyone, but like, don't make excuses like, "Hey, I need an IV. I was cramping."
I was back there getting an
People
IV.
cramp all the time. They don't have to run into the locker room and tell some guy who's in front of the door, like, "Get the hell out of here."
When I'm cramping, I don't clench my cheeks.
Right.
End of story.
We've all been there with that run, clenching the cheeks run, but none of us have ever said, "Hey, sorry, I was cramping up. I had to run to the bathroom and get an IV."
Yeah, my clenching the cheeks run normally ended up with me sitting on a toilet. So
And he was on there for a long time.
Yeah, he went and took him a little 25-minute doo-doo.
Then before he came out, he's like, "Can you wrap up my arm so it looks like I had an IV in, please? Please."
Put the bandage here so I'll be all right. But yeah, I think Tennessee wins that. Playoff Lamar will be back.
And, sorry, go on.
I was just playoff Lamar will be back. I also don't know. J.K. Dobbins might not be able to. Is not going to be able to carry the load alone.
Yeah, that is true. All right, so at 4:40 p.m. on Sunday, I don't know why, but it's on CBS, Nickelodeon, and Prime Video. Chicago at New Orleans. I don't think they should put murders on Nickelodeon because the Saints are going to run through the Bears.
I think the Bears win this game.
You do?
I think the Bears have been playing. I think the Bears played the best team in the NFL the other day in the Green Bay Packers. Played them tight, slowed down Aaron Rodgers. Not only that, Drew Brees has been playing like he deserves to be in a retirement home.
That's why they need to put in Jameis Winston. It's just a fact. I don't know why they haven't put in Jameis Winston yet.
I don't know either. I think that he significantly helps the downfield threat. If Michael Thomas is back for this game, that might help Drew Brees a little bit. But Drew Brees has not looked good. The Saints have limped to the playoffs. I know they beat the Panthers pretty handily the other day, but the Panthers haven't really been anything all year in terms of. I know they've won some games, but no Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater's good, but he's not that good.
Did you see what they said today?
No, what they said.
They said he's not looking like our starter quarterback in 2021.
Well, they're going to give Rule his guy. They signed Bridgewater before they signed Rule, so they're going to give Rule his guy.
Remember when Matt Rule said, "I don't want to go to Cleveland"?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess who's in the playoffs? Guess who's
go
not?
down to Carolina, man. Just because they've been to a Super Bowl a little more recently doesn't mean jack crap, because the Carolina Panthers are headed on the biggest downfall in a while for them. Hopefully McCaffrey can stay healthy, because that's your only hope.
And yeah, I like Teddy Bridgewater, but Matt Rule, you're a stu-not for not coming to Cleveland. But you know what? I'm happy you did not come to Cleveland. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for saying you did not want to come to Cleveland, because we got our guy in Kevin Stefanski.
I like the monotone, boring, structural genius that Kevin Stefanski is. I like that he doesn't give people bulletin board material. Ask Dabo Sweeney what bulletin board material gets you.
Yeah, that's when you go up against your 11th ranked team and get the brakes beat
Get
off of you.
smacked.
And I'm not a big Buckeyes fan, and I do not like Justin Fields. I do not think he'll be an NFL quarterback, but they got smacked, and I was rooting for him. I was calling out the plays that Dabo Sweeney was going to do to my dad, and after about the third quarter, he was like, all right, I get it. You know what he's going to call.
Well,
there you go, Dabo.
So my thing is if Ethan, not like calling out your sports smarts or anything like that, but if Ethan at home is going to figure out what Dabo Sweeney's doing on every single play in the middle of a game, you didn't study Clemson film. In the middle of the game, do you think Ryan Day, who watched all 11 games that Clemson played this year, knew what was coming? Knew that Travis Etienne was going to get some pitches, or knew that Trevor Lawrence was going to try to take off with his feet? Guess what? All got stopped. But we'll get into that after we're done with this.
So the final one at 8:15 p.m., which should be changed on Sunday night on NBC and Peacock. It's Cleveland at Pittsburgh, and I'm going to say this right now. You're not going to like it. Howie's not going to like it. My shirt's not going to like it. Pittsburgh wins this game.
I'm not going to give you a prediction because I don't want to, just because I think you're right, unfortunately. And it's not anything to be upset about.
No,
I'd be more pissed.
That's the first.
My
pen just broke.
Yeah, that thing is all over. But
the first step
is getting there.
It's getting there.
So you got there.
You got your foot in the door. Now work on it.
I think this only makes Baker better.
Absolutely.
Why?
Fuels the fire.
It fuels the fire. It gives him that fire, because you're going to get here, and odds are you might lose. Odds are not looking in your favor at all. Especially if you're out a bunch of people, you're already going to be out your head coach, your O-line, all of that thing. So it's not looking great. So you are going to be given those excuses. But I think those players that are going to be playing and are going to feel that loss. And if it does happen, we're going to get those screenshots, and there's going to be tears and things like that. It's just going to piss them off to the point where they know this is where they want to be consistently every year, because at that point, once they get that taste this Sunday, once they get the little taste, it's kind of like fat kids and cake. You got to have it. Trust me.
It's like me and cigarettes.
Yes. Once you get that taste.
You see them cigarettes right there.
It's just like, it's there, and it's where you want to be every year, and nothing else means shit to you. A 9-win season is not going to mean shit to the Baker Mayfield anymore. A 10-win season, not a damn thing to Baker Mayfield anymore.
And
going forward, go ahead.
No.
Going forward, the only thing that's going to matter to Baker and the Browns, if they lose this game on Sunday, the way that they are being dealt with COVID and everything like that, the only thing that's going to matter to them is playoffs, Super Bowl. Fuck the regular season.
Best team since Trapper was there. RIP Swagger Sr. I wish he was here to see us in the playoffs. That's very touching, near and dear to my heart. But what resurfaced on Twitter and everything was the 2018 Hard Knocks when Jarvis Landry walked in. And if you do not like to hear swearing, I'm going to quote him. So please, if you do not, just skip forward probably 3 minutes.
Skip forward or just get over it.
Yeah. He was like, I don't know what was going on here before I came here. I don't know what the hell was going on, but we're not going to fucking do that. You got to fucking play. You got to, if your hamstring isn't hanging off the bone of your leg or your leg isn't broken, you better fucking be out there to practice, because when you're not at fucking practice, these guys have to work 2 times fucking harder at practice.
You know who set him off in that, right?
It's been a while since I watched that.
It was Duke Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
It was Duke Johnson that first year, the year before he requested his trade, was Hugh Jackson was sitting him like every day. At that point, Duke Johnson's like a 2nd or 3rd year pro. Just like he ever has done. And at this point, he still hasn't done anything in the NFL. But he's sitting like he was Joe Thomas on that team.
You know what's funny is Duke Johnson was supposed to be like Kareem Hunt. How Kareem Hunt is now, that's how Duke Johnson was supposed to be. You see how Baker Mayfield is now? That's how Johnny Manziel was supposed to be. But you know what? We got our guys. Who cares about the past? The past is behind us.
I'll say something that might be controversial. It's all about the mentality. Because if you take a look at skill sets, Johnny Manziel is the most talented quarterback. Naturally talented? You don't think Johnny Manziel...
Scrambling.
You don't think...
Scrambling, he's better.
He's not more accurate. Why?
Baker's got a better brain.
That's what...
Baker's got a better arm.
The mental there and the arm is what I'll give you for Baker. But all around, I think Johnny
Baker
Manziel...
can read a defense.
Now he can.
Now he can, yes. I will give you that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Baker had the mentality to work to get himself better. At square one, Johnny Manziel was the better quarterback. He just did not have the drive to make himself what Baker
Johnny
is
Manziel's my
himself
height.
now.
Baker's maybe 2 inches taller.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and I'm not cracking on Baker because I love Baker. He's the quarterback of this team for the future. But if you go from square one, Johnny Manziel was the...
What's Manziel doing right now? He's smoking blunts, and now he's in a fan-induced...
He's not doing shit.
He's playing 7-on-7 ball.
He's not doing
February.
shit because you're proving my point. He didn't have the drive to make himself better.
That's
If he had Baker Mayfield's drive, he'd be great.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. Maybe
remember?
not.
Do you remember? Speaking of Michael Sam, you remember when he slammed him down in that preseason game and got in his face and did that?
Yeah.
Look, Baker's a cocky guy too, grabbing his crotch, planting the flag.
I love it about him.
Manziel was just an asshole, dude. Money Manziel, because he came from a rich ass family. He didn't.
And that's what I'm telling you. They both had the opportunity. The difference to me is Johnny Manziel didn't give a shit, and Baker Mayfield.
You listened to that podcast, right?
Yeah.
When he said he didn't care.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel didn't give a shit, and Baker Mayfield eats, sleeps, and breathes football.
Right. And commercials and
playoff mode
and
progressive.
And Emily.
He eats,
you know
sleeps,
what?
and breathes
the best thing
football.
The best thing to happen, the difference between Manziel and Mayfield was Manziel was just trying to party and get tail. That's an easy way to put it. Get tail. Get girls.
Wanted to be a celebrity. Baker Mayfield wanted to be a
Mayfield.
football player.
Mayfield found his girl and was like, you know what, I'm gonna marry you. So he's down with his wife. He's not in Vegas. You know, he's not in Miami. He's not in Tucson, Arizona. That was just a toss.
He's the pros pro that was a little cocky.
Yeah.
That's what Mayfield was. He was the pros pro that was.
And
a
he
little
chilled
cocky.
out. He chilled out, and he learned.
And then
he
Stefanski humbled his ass and chilled him out.
He learned this year. All right, you know what? When we win, I'm gonna be cocky. I'm gonna run down the field like woohoo!
Because you can be.
And Manziel never learned that. When Mayfield first got into the league, he was being the little douchebag he was in college. Not saying he was a douchebag in college because he was winning, but he was acting like that. He was acting like a little bitch when they lost. When they lose now, he's like, "Hey, you know what? That's on me." Like after the Jets game, so that was all on me. And then Stefanski's like, "That's all on me. Don't let Baker tell you anything. That's on me." And he's like, "No, it's on me."
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. You don't ever want your quarterback to make those type of plays, but when it is his fault that the ship is going down, you want him to take the blame because that's what professionals do. That's what Tom Brady has done for so long. Hate him or love him. That's what Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers is kind of an enigma. Aaron Rodgers.
He's a weird. But Olivia Munn, Danica Patrick. I don't know.
I
don't know how he gets these girls, but he's got the Rangers rate, the discount. I don't know.
He had to get rid of that because he only won one. Like you can't keep doing this if you've only won one in 15 years.
Yeah. But speaking of Baker back in the day, not taking the blame compared to now taking the blame. That's like if me and you do a bad podcast, it's Howie's fault.
Right? That's kind of what it is.
Howie distract, or it was like last week. It could be like, oh, the bird.
Yeah.
The bird ruined the podcast.
Yeah. By all means, ignore the bird.
The bird's right there.
The bird is
It's
right
on
there.
Howie.
Howie's new friend. Now that we caught him, we're gonna move on to the college football playoff, right?
Yeah.
That works because we're starting to get strapped. This weekend we watched Alabama take on Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl. This game ended up being closer than I thought it would be. If you go back and watch last week's episode, I thought they'd run away with it. Alabama wins 31-14. There's not too much to say about this game. Notre Dame kept it close, gets a late score. Ohio State then goes in the Sugar Bowl later that night, and like we said earlier, just beats the brakes off of the Clemson Tigers, 49-28. Dabo got real predictable. How about that for the number 11 team in the country? You said you were rooting for them because even though you're not a big Ohio State fan, I consider myself an Ohio State fan. Even though if I had to pick a college football team, it's probably West Virginia.
I'm a West Virginia fan.
Yeah,
I'm more of a West Virginia and Penn State fan than I am Ohio State, but I always root for Ohio State because that's my playoff team.
yeah.
Because I'm not going to let another school from a different state take on.
Yeah. By all means.
I love Ohio State. I was grown up loving Ohio State, but I like other football teams.
Yeah,
That's
right.
just how it goes.
You're allowed to. There's 127 college football teams in
I'm
that
a Penn State guy. I'm more of an underdog.
In that FBS. Why do I need to be married to just one? I'll have the home loyalty in Ohio State. So there's that. So I tweeted something like, I think this might be the first time ever that the number 11 team in the country plays for the national championship. It just.
I mean, he said it. I didn't say it. You didn't say it.
No.
Nobody else said it. He said it, and then he got his ass whooped.
Hey, I don't want to use Saban as an example, but take note. Saban has known for 4 days now that he's playing Ohio State next Monday. Guess who hasn't said a damn thing about Ohio State?
Let me ask you a question. Where did Nick Saban play tight end at in college? Kent State.
Yeah, learn from those boys, man.
A lot of these Lou Holtz, all these legendary coaches come from Kent State. It's a football factory. So I was wrong on my prediction last week. I said Clemson, Notre Dame. You know what? I'm going to eat my words, and I'm going to say, hate to say it, I know you're wearing the shirt, but Alabama's going to know exactly what Justin Fields is going to do. And they know that he had that rib injury to his right ribs, and they're going to eat that up. The linemen and the linebackers are going to smack him right in those ribs.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to take offense to it because I said it last week. I'm not sure anybody can beat this Alabama team. Like you said earlier when I first got here, who's winning the Heisman?
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith is going to be the first wide receiver to win the Heisman since
1991.
Yeah. So think about that. I watched that Notre Dame game, them play Notre Dame, and I just don't get how people can't stop him. Now, and if they put Sean Wade on him, it is over because Sean Wade got tore apart. Like he didn't deserve to be on a football field the other day against Clemson.
Yeah. Ohio State does have good wide receivers, but like you just said, he got torn apart.
Sean Wade, I thought, if you go back a couple weeks ago when the Cowboys were doing terribly, I said Tank can get Sean Wade in the back end of your defense. Mm-hmm. Because at the beginning of this year, he was a top 5 corner, top 5 NFL draft pick.
Yeah.
Now he's just trash. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what the coach said to him that was like, you should bail out at every single play. But nevertheless, we've got Ohio State, Alabama Monday at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami for the national championship. By all means, if Ohio State wins the title, I'm going to be on here celebrating next week, celebrating the title. But
I will as well. I'm not saying I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I'm just not the biggest Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly. And we just don't know if they can get it done against Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama is known for their defense. Nick Saban, he's an offensive guy, but his defenses are amazing. They're just insane.
You want to know what I'll eat crow about? I said Notre Dame was the team that didn't deserve to be in this playoff. They only lost by 17.
Yeah.
Clemson lost by 21 points, and I'd argue that if Justin Fields didn't get hurt in that game, it'd have been 35 or 40.
Oh, absolutely. Here's another thing. I think I said this earlier. Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields would not be my first 2 picks. Or their first top 5 picks. They would not be. I'm talking, if I was a GM, I would pick up somebody like, let's say, Ryan Fitzpatrick, hold him in there for a year. You know, you get a winning season out of Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then 2022, third round, Dustin Crum.
They can screenshot this on me all they want. there's not a quarterback in this draft I trust and believe that's going to be a good caliber starting NFL quarterback.
If Dustin Crum, not Justin Fields, Dustin Crum, but if Dustin Crum would have went to the draft this year,
he'd have been my pick.
Yeah.
Because I think with some development at the NFL thing, he'll learn it. He's got the arm, he's got the legs, he's got it all, he's got the mental. So I think with an NFL system, he'll need some time to learn it for sure. But I do think that he would have been the only NFL caliber quarterback coming in. Like I said last week, Trevor Lawrence has regressed since that freshman year.
Dude, you have long hair and it's not even like wavy or anything. It's just straight and it looks greasy. Dude, just cut your hair. Cut it lost. That's from people with long hair.
Bro walks like this.
His nose up in the air. I'm a fucking tough guy. All right. All right. So moving on from that, I'm just saying, 2022, look for Dustin Crum. 2021, real quick, who do you think's going to take Isaiah McCoy? And what round?
The LA Rams in the third round.
I was going to say Colts in the third round.
Okay, I can see that. I feel like they're going to move on from T.Y. Hilton at some point.
He's still good, but they need to start bringing in young bucks.
Yeah, they need people aside from him because that's really why they're stagnant. Jonathan Taylor is a monster in that backfield. They also have Marlon Mack coming back next year, so they don't need running backs. They need a receiver. The Colts is a pretty good pick, man. I just think Cooper Kupp is he's still relatively underrated. But I think starting next year, people are going to start covering him like he's the number one wide receiver. So the Rams are going to need to find another guy.
And why I'm saying third round and you're saying third round is because Isaiah McCoy feeds off of that, people doubting him.
Yeah.
Our logo that we made. Never underestimate McCoy.
Yeah.
So you take him in the third round, that's going to piss him off. That's going to make him work even harder to get to be one of the top receivers in the NFL, and I believe that with Isaiah McCoy.
Just take a look at his stuff. He almost broke the back receiving record his rookie year and played like 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, his freshman year.
There's only one thing I could say about McCoy is just put on like 10 or 15 pounds. That's it. That's the only, and kind of learn how to block. This year you were kind of doing a little holding. That's not judgment.
That just could be the size, man. It happens.
Yeah, and that's not judgment.
No.
We love McCoy.
That's
that was our first ever guest.
So naturally gifted. You're gonna get a hard worker. He one of those guys, like I said, that eats, sleeps, and breathes football, and that's who you're gonna get with Isaiah McCoy. And by all means, that's all I can say about that.
Absolutely. And Isaiah, we love you, friend of the podcast, good friend. So moving on from that, we will go to this day in sports history. So this day in sports history, January 5th, 1957, Dodgers' Jackie Robinson announces his retirement rather than being traded to the New York Giants. So he'd rather retire than being traded.
I mean, Jackie...
I don't think I even have to go into Jackie Robinson's stats. Everybody knows Jackie Robinson.
You don't have to go into who Jackie is. You know who Jackie is, right? Everybody knows Jackie. 40. There's a whole day where everybody wears the number 42 because of Jackie Robinson and the barriers that he broke. And then just to be the ultimate team guy like that, and to be like, if I'm not going to be a Dodger, I'm not going to play baseball.
Right.
It is something that you long for.
Yeah.
In players, even in 2020.
You don't see that these days. 2021.
Even in 2021, you, to this point, even...
I'm listening. No,
you to this point even wish that Francisco Lindor had that type of mentality, where if I'm not a member of the Cleveland Indians, I don't want to play baseball.
Right.
But no,
now it's all about...
it completely changed, and it's all about money. And by all means, I'm money motivated myself, so I can't hate on somebody that's money motivated. But I do wish that sense of loyalty was still here in sports today, like it was back in the 50s. Because could you imagine Babe Ruth not being a Yankee for his entire career? Or
He was a Red Sox.
Oh yeah, there you go. Duh. I don't know why I brought that up. That was dumb. But just some of those other guys, like David Ortiz is one of the most.
He was a Twin. He got drafted by the Twins. The Twins stupidly, when he was young, traded him to the Red Sox.
Well, when he was young, that doesn't really count.
I know what you're saying, though. But he retired at Red Sox.
Yeah,
that was his team.
Once he became
the Yankees were Babe Ruth's team.
Yeah, once he became who he was a Red Sox. And then he just never wanted
Bobby
to leave
Feller.
again. There you go.
Bobby Feller, lifelong Cleveland Indian. He left to go to World War II to be a fighter pilot, came back, and won the World Series. Mind blowing.
Like even in the 90s, it started changing to where like it doesn't. Early 2000s, Tomey leaving for the Phillies. Everybody, Santana leaving 2 years ago for the Phillies.
Coming back.
Coming back and then going to the Royals. Like that's even worse. Go back to Philadelphia, man.
Hey, you better not leave us for some other podcast, pal.
If you go to the Bark of the Browns podcast.
Right there. I'm taking your bird. All right, so speaking of Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby, legend, Cleveland Indian, his jersey number is retired. 3 months after Jackie Robinson made history with the Brooklyn Dodgers, Larry Doby broke the MLB color barrier once again, but this time for the American League when he signed a contract for Bill Veeck's Cleveland Indians. So, a lot of people don't know about Larry Doby because Jackie Robinson, I understand he's first kind of overshines him.
Yeah.
But he was the second one. He broke the American League barrier. A lot of people don't know that. Maybe just because I'm an Indians fan, it kind of...
Because a lot of people that are still looking at it just see the MLB as an overarching one whole thing.
Right.
They don't really stop to think that the American League was a whole league back in the day, and then the National League was a whole separate league back in the day, just like the American Football League and the National Football League back in the day.
Absolutely. And Larry Doby was a 7-time American League All-Star center fielder. Him and his teammate, Satchel Paige, pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, were the first African-American players to win a World Series championship when the Cleveland Indians took the crown in 1948. Boys, we are looking for another goddamn World Series win, but that's for another day.
We're going to have plenty of time in the football offseason that comes in February after that to talk baseball 24/7. So we'll get into that. We got to wrap up, man. We're a little over time.
You can follow me on Twitter at ETHSimpsonCGOD. You can follow me on Instagram at ETHSimpson.
Follow me on Twitter at BWardCLE. Follow me on Instagram, B.Ward52. Do not forget to follow the podcast. Follow the podcast on Twitter at PodcastGiven. On Instagram at AnyGivenPodcast. Facebook.com/AnyGivenPodcast. And please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube. What else you got for me, my man?
All right, so my good friend, my closest, I was going to say acquaintance, but he is actually one of my good friends. I've known him probably for 11 years now. Swim Jones came out with his new single, Edward. You got it now.
Fire.
Yeah. Swim. Yeah. It's be hard though. Not a killer, but don't push me. Bushwhackers wanna bush me. Steel toes fall from a rookie. Couple stacks, you might could book me. Flow hard, I'm never mushy. Stuff sweet back with tushy. Willie Nelson, I get juggy, but I ain't got the time. No rollie or no chain, this a different shine. Real shit that's hard to find. On a forever grind, ain't wasting a dime. I need all of mine. I see dollar signs. Got the devil eyes, following God's signs. That shit for the wise. That shit for the wise. That shit for the wise. Said it 3 times so you can get the picture. It's not a mixture, it's a potion. For the waves in the ocean. Like we coastin', we floatin', we token. Young nigga Jones, that nigga always smoking, bro. Eddie Jones on this motherfucker going hard. Nigga Bud Light on my John Deere cutting yard. Mine sharp like a sword, and I'm never fucking bored. Always got some shit to do. Catch me on your boulevard. Woo. I'm steaming hot. Yeah. It's underground heat. Underground